Okay, so mercantilism again. So I'm still doing my own research on that, still, and remaking some slides. But around the 1800s, so that'd be the 19th century, around the late 1700s, early 1800s, that's when people started changing their idea about the nature of wealth. Okay, and the idea of whether or not wealth is limited. So capitalism is another idea that came along, again, around the late 1700s, early 1800s, I can't remember exactly right now. And capitalism is an economic system that allows for more free and open trade between people, between countries. It is a system that doesn't believe that there's a limited amount of wealth to be gained, and that more trade, more competition is better for people. It's also based on this idea of private ownership, not just of the means of production, but private ownership in general, that individuals can have ownership of things and they can benefit from the productive use, let's say, of land, right? So if we look out at the field, whatever little we can see of it, is our soccer field, is our field right now being used productively? I don't know, is there a gym class out there? No, right? So it's empty right now. And it's not being used productively, it's not producing anything of value, right? How might we increase the value output of that field? What could we do? What was that? Put people on there, right? So maybe we have more gym classes out there. Maybe we have a neighborhood event, or bring out old folks, right? How else can you use land just to create value? Could we grow something on there? Could we grow food on there? Could raise animals on there as well. You could build something on there that now has more productive value. Okay, so you still need entrepreneurs, people who take their ideas, their vision, they take the risk and create something that's productive and of value, but that this idea that the hardest working will succeed, and this benefits society as a whole, as these people will reinvest profits, employ people, and potentially donate to charity. Okay. Additionally, through that competition, hopefully they'll create a good quality product or service. One of the unfortunate things we see now is that you're still paying an expensive price for a worse product, right? Because people are outsourcing, so maybe they're trying to use cheaper materials, cheaper services, but due to whatever the brand name is, they're selling that item for a very expensive price. Communism is kind of on the opposite end of this spectrum. Economically speaking, communism is against the idea of private ownership. So very extreme forms would be that you own nothing, right? Or you own very little. They also believe in equality, so equalizing the outcome. So it doesn't matter what you put in, whatever your inputs are, your outputs are the same. Okay. To explain that, so that would be like, let's say you work together with a group of people on a project, and you spend 6 hours and you produce most of the project, and everybody spends a little bit less than you. Regardless, you should all get the same grade. Many of you might think that that's unfair, right? The people who put in the most effort, produce the most results, they should be rewarded for that. Many of you might feel that way. And there's different ideas on this as well, which we won't necessarily get into. The capitalism, communism notes are useful because you're going to need that for grade 12, which you will be in very soon, sooner than you think. And those are ideologies that you go into a lot of detail on in your grade 12 curriculum. Okay. But Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, they believe this idea that the people should govern themselves. There should be no owners of factories. There should be no people, let's say, who are they really want to reduce inequality. Okay. Some examples of communism, you could look at USSR or Soviet Russia. You could look at China under Mao Zedong specifically at the start, but they're still very communist. Cuba as well with Fidel Castro. You could also look at what Lenin did, what Stalin did under communism as well, which would be Russia. Okay. Class warfare is very relevant to communism, but something that's more important at the grade 12 level. It's not necessarily nearly as important as grade 10. Okay. We still taking notes, or seems like a couple of us? Okay, we'll move on. We will watch another video here.